Disney List Time, taking a look at some of the best of the Disney parks as we see it and list it out. And today we are talking about a Disney Cruise Line vacation. A lot of people are hesitant to jump on a cruise ship right now. A lot of fear and anxiety out there about jumping on a cruise ship right now. But that's why this topic is important. That is why this is something worth discussing, because Disney Cruise Line is back again. They're sailing again. They're on the high seas, and they are inviting us to come join them. Our own Tyler Crouch and Katrina Manzoni have just returned from a Disney Cruise Line vacation. They themselves, I know, also expressed a lot of hesitancy in recent months about the idea of getting back on a cruise ship right now. And that's why, again, it's so important to talk about something like this, because you might be able to help share with everybody exactly what you experienced and maybe put their minds at ease a little bit as to what's going on aboard the most beautiful of all cruise ships. And that is these stunning Disney cruise liners. Every time I've ever been on one, it is an enchanting experience. It is something that you never want to leave because it's so much fun. But share with us, if you will, the positives taking a Disney Cruise Line vacation right now.
So, yeah, first and foremost, we stayed on the Dream. From what I heard, the ship fits around 4,000 people, and there was only 1,300 people on the ship. Wow. So, like, my number one thing is the ship was dead. It was incredibly dead. The public areas are not crowded at all. We spent a lot of our time in, like, the adult pool area. You could find a seat wherever you wanted to.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, you know, within reason. There was some times where you couldn't, but I mean, there's always a place to go. Let me put it that way. There's always a place to relax. And even the pool itself, I think there was only one time where I was like, I'm not going to get in the pool right now because there's too many people. But like 5 minutes later, it was like...
That's the adult section.
Yeah,
though.
That's the adult section. But also, I mean, we spent a little bit of time walking around, of course, and the pools are right there in the middle of Deck 11, just the regular family pools. And those things are completely... I mean, 3 years ago, we went on a cruise, and it was like a swarm of people around those things and people sitting on the edge and everything. Right now, they're putting up, like, little banisters so that people can't sit around the edge of the pool. But it's like... There's nobody there. There's literally nobody there.
There's tons of seats available where people were just like watching the Disney movies that were being projected on or was on the screen, and then just chilling, having an ice cream, and then getting up and leaving. It wasn't like a thing where you camp out all day to try to find a seat and you don't leave your spot. You know, it was just like you get up, get an ice cream, come back down, you find a seat, you sit down, eat it, watch a movie, and then leave.
Wide open.
I mean,
unheard of.
It was incredible because, even when those movies are being played, right, it's like there's a lot of times where, oh my gosh, you have to like fight. How am I going to get 4 seats right next to each other for my family? And it's like, no, like there was plenty of empty seats. They close up the pools, they put the seats on top of them, and you just watch movies out under the stars. So, I mean, it was incredible in that regard. And I felt very safe, too. I mean, I really did, especially because they, want you to be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you have to get tested anyway.
And tell me, when it comes to, because I know that they have unique requirements, did they require to have like a negative test even before you got on the ship, even after the vaccination?
If you were vaccinated, you didn't have to show them a test. Okay. But if you're not vaccinated, you had to. Well, you know a little more about this.
Yeah, I did it. I did it all. So when you do your online check-in, it's super easy. You just go to Safe Passage. Like they'll send you a website to go to, and then 5 days before your cruise, you have to take a PCR test if you're not vaccinated. So anybody like kids and adults that aren't unvaccinated, they just upload your negative test results on Safe Passage, and then within a couple of days, you'll get an email saying like you are approved to come to the terminal or not. And then if you are vaccinated, you just show a copy of your vaccination card, and then all of your within 24 hours, I think I got an email, and then you go on Safe Passage and everything was marked safe to board the ship. So there's 3 stages that you'll see.
That's what I thought I read. Okay, there were multiple stages of verification. And
when you do it, you got to get the PCR test before you get even to the terminal. Then if you're unvaccinated, and if your kids, obviously they're unvaccinated if they're 12 and under, then you get to the terminal. Then you have to take another test on Disney's on Disney property technically, and then Disney charges it to your Folio account. I think it's $65 per person. And then from there, you get like another check mark. And then if it's like 5 days or more, you like on a ship, which they're not doing right now, you have to take another PCR test to get off the ship.
Wow.
If you're unvaccinated. And then in California, it's like a whole new ball game because they just started bringing ships into California again. They're doing the Panama Canal. So it's like huge. It's like a huge thing. Now like cruising's starting to like actually happen. And there are different requirements. You have to take a PCR test before your cruise, even if you are vaccinated. Everybody has to take one. So I think that's like fair game.
But just like suffice it to say, you were alluding to earlier that we were like worried about going on cruises and stuff. I felt safer on this cruise than I've felt in any massive public space.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
because I mean, not only with all this testing that Katrina just mentioned and like vaccinations and things, but also, I mean, everywhere you go, the cast members require you to, and this is kind of not a cruise, this is not a new thing, but like when you walk into cabanas, which is like the lunch buffet, they'll be like, wash your hands. When you walk into any dining area, they sanitize your hands.
Right. They've been doing that
Like-
for years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not a
It's-
new thing, but also it's still going on. They have somebody specifically standing there to tell you to wash your freaking hands, which is really a nice thing when you're in a
Don't make me get the
cruise ship.
hose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I'll go on to my next thing, which is this one is really cool, I think, and it's kind of scary because it lets you spend more money than you think you are sometimes.
Oh, smart then.
But yeah, I know. So everything now is done through the app. So you download the app when you get, before you get on the ship, and every single thing is done through the app now. So literally anytime you get a drink, any upcharge, even if you go to like the store to buy merchandise or anything, there's no switching credit cards, there's no touching of anything. You literally say your room number, and then it beams itself boop 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 to your phone, and then you put in like if you want to add extra gratuity or anything like that, you do it straight through your phone.
Whoa.
And then it all charges to your folio by the end of the cruise. So, and you can see your folio the entire time. It shows you exactly how much money you've been spending. It shows you all the different things that you've purchased throughout the entire cruise, and just the fact that like you can add extra gratuity and things so easily without and we got off the ship and we spent one day at like Animal Kingdom, and we went to Nomad Lounge and got like a couple Mai Tais, and then I'm like, you mean I have to like give her my credit card and then wait for a piece of paper and then sign the piece of paper? And it's just like I missed already the phone being like the crazy. I mean, it was just so great.
Convenience matters.
because they beamed it like if I got a drink or something, they would give it to my phone and like my account, and then it would be like or to his account. So it's like whoever ordered the drink, it wasn't just like to that just room. It was
Yeah.
actually really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean
talk
that's
about the menus and
that's
stuff?
incredible. I mean,
so give her some more.
well, I mean, you can also the other thing you can do with the phone too is like all the menus for everything on the ship is all on there. So like if you want to see what you're gonna have for dinner like 2 nights from today or whatever, you can still just like go look at the menu, read it all. They don't have any physical menus right now except for like the adult dining had like a couple physical menus, but and then because you do everything on the phone now too with the excursions and the restaurant like reservations and things like that, you do it all right on the app. So, and it was easy to do. It was like even we booked literally like less than a week before the cruise started, and there was still plenty of things available, which brings me to like probably one of my favorite things. This is like something exceptional that you need to do. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity if you're going on a cruise in the next, I don't know how long they're going to be doing this. The spa area, right, has what they call a rainforest room. And usually, so it's got like two steam rooms, a sauna. It's got 2 jacuzzis outside on a deck that just have the most beautiful view you can imagine. It's got these different stone chairs that like heat up and you lay down on them.
Ooh.
And then the coolest part, my favorite part, is it has these different showers. This is where the rainforest comes from, where there's like different shower heads in each of them, and they all have different temperatures. So you can go and get too hot in the steam room, and then you go and dunk ice cold water on your head, and you just do it over and over again. Anyway, usually that is a upcharge where you can kind of go in and out as you please, and people are kind of coming and going, and it's just a very quiet, serene area. Right now, because of COVID, they're doing one group at a time. You can only
Very
be in
personal.
there. So
Yeah.
it's
Very intimate.
and you can have up to 10 people. and it's $170 for an hour and 45 minutes. So it was the coolest thing ever. We didn't have, it was just me and Katrina, but it was just like having these private, relaxing areas. And then on top of that, here's a little tip too. We did it when we were taking off from Castaway Cay. So we were literally chilling in these outdoor jacuzzis while we were sailing away from Castaway Cay, having this like beautiful view.
Oh.
And I mean,
How cool.
It was nice to get the breeze again while we were moving. I was like, oh, this is really nice. I was getting very toasty in that jacuzzi.
and that little jacuzzi patio, by the way, is like right next to the bridge. So there's
Yeah,
this
I
guy
waved.
standing out on the bridge, and we like waved to him. He's like, "Hi."
He's like,
And so yeah, he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm busy.
and then he took his binoculars, acting busy. He's like,
No, but it was an exceptional experience, and the way we booked that was actually, you can't do that one on the phone. I think you can call ahead. We didn't do that.
no, you
We
can't call ahead. It's day of.
Okay, all right. Well, then I was wrong. So the day we got on the ship, one of the first things we did was just walk up to the spa, and they give you this whole little tour. Oh, talk to the acupuncture guy. Talk to the trainer guy. And it's like, I just want to book the rainforest room. Can we just book the rainforest room? Anyway, it was incredible. Those are my things.
Nice.
That
It's a
were,
once in a lifetime thing. I was in there and I was like in like the steam room by myself, and I was like, I can't share this with someone else now.
I know.
It's like spoiled.
I'm too
like I
spoiled
can't.
now.
Yeah.
He had one jacuzzi, I had the other jacuzzi. I was like, I don't know how you would share these with other people because they're like a weird.
Sure.
They're not like they're like a lay down jacuzzi. They're not
Yeah,
like a. It's not
like
like a
body. It's like a
sit.
body form of
Yeah.
somebody laying down, right? So
Yeah,
Oh,
so you
yeah.
lay down,
Oh,
and so
that sounds
only
heavenly.
two
Yeah.
people can fit in each one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't be that intimate with somebody that I don't know.
That'd be really weird.
Like it'd be really strange. And then like the showers are really cool because they're like individual showers, and they're not like you don't just sit there for
Yeah.
like 45 minutes in a shower. Like you press the button and then it's
Yeah.
over within 20 seconds.
there's
but
different programs that are like waterfall, Eastern storm,
Mediterranean
like,
thing,
and like some of them even like light up like there's thunder and lightning and there's like little sounds. It's like wow.
It's really
crazy.
neat. Like I mean, if you're able to do it, and if you're on a cruise, like that the day of, as you're boarding, you'll run up and then just go and book it. Tell them I don't care about
Yeah.
the open house. Just book me the room because they go by fast.
I
Because
bet.
like when we were doing it, she was telling us the times and like the sea day, they're all taken immediately. And then I was like, I need this day, and like there's
Especially to be isolated, I would imagine those go really fast.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so, yeah.
So
And
if you want it, book it.
And at first we were a little bit bummed that we didn't get it on the day at sea because, that's the day that you have the most time to kind of waste on the ship, I guess. But the fact that we didn't even plan it. We just like the fact that we got to take off from Castaway Cay while we were just relaxing up there was the icing on the cake. So
I bet.
It was perfect. Yeah.
So cool.
I have a couple other things I want to say.
yeah.
Go
Do your
for it.
thing.
Things I want to say. Okay.
Say it.
One. It just popped in my mind. I really want to say it. Mustard drill doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So
Yeah.
I know, like, I was dreading the mustard drill. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people live for it. I'm just not one of
Who
those.
lives for it?
I mean, I work at Royal Caribbean
There's a
for a
society.
very long time, and people do like it.
Masochistic.
But anyway, so they don't do that anymore. So as soon as you get on board, they'll tell you like, okay, go on your phone and you'll see where you need to go for your mustard drill based off of your room. And then you go up there, you use your QR code, you scan the little thing where your number is or your letter, and then you watch a video and you're done.
Whoa.
You don't have to get near anybody. And it's super fun. I was like, that's
Wow.
super great. Technology is amazing. That app, you do everything through the app. Like, so make sure you have your batteries. Like, if you have portable batteries and your phone dies really quick, you use it all the time.
If you don't have a smartphone, you're in trouble.
If
on
you don't have a
on Disney
smartphone,
cruise.
you can't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then, but the terminal process, I have to say, high regards, super easy peasy. I mean, we're both vaccinated, and it took 30 minutes. I timed it from when we pulled up to the terminal, dropped off our bags, and parked, or like we go through like the different stages, and then after the first stage, you'll show a QR code. And they'll scan it and they'll like all clear. So they give you like a little golden ticket on your car. And then you just go up to the parking garage and you park. You go to security. And now without, before you would have to go in a line for security. Then after security, you have to line to check in. And then after the line to check in, you would have a line to get on the ship. And now they do away with all these lines. And so you only have one area
that's
to
awesome.
go into.
It's amazing.
It's like security and check in. That's it. and then you just scan your bags. And then you get up and you wait to see if your number is called. For us, our number was already called because they were going through boarding so fast that we just walked up on the ship. And it was like 30 minutes, unheard of. I was like, this is honestly the best cruise experience I have ever had. And I can't tell you enough how much I was near no one the whole time throughout the checking in process. Because before you're in like queues and you're like, stay away.
Yeah, you're in
The
crowds
terminal
the whole
wasn't.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
It
The
was
terminal was
empty.
empty. There was nobody in the terminal.
I've never felt safer. And then on top of it, like you get your own table at dinner because like now because like the whole cruising thing, you try to meet new people and they put you next to other people, and you get your own table. And they always usually give you like those table for twos don't exist anymore. Though like they give you a table for four. You have like a nice open room. It's honestly really amazing. There were no queues to line up for dinner. Like every time, like, if your seating's at 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you're like used to having this huge line of everybody kind of getting ushered in, and you get your hand sanitizer and then you get sat to your seat. There is no line to get in. You just show up, you get your hand sanitizer, you tell them your table, you sit down. There was nothing. And
It doesn't even sound real.
it was the craziest
it was unbelievable.
thing. Cabanas, there was no line to get food. Flows, there was no line to get food. They were absolutely amazing with my gluten allergy, as always. Like the cruise lines, they just...
Yeah.
I had so many chicken nuggets. I can't even tell you. They recognized me. I went back twice that day, and they're like,
The Nugget Girl.
More chicken nuggets. And I was like,
like,
yes,
I'm so
please.
embarrassed.
I was so embarrassed. I literally sat in the adult area eating my whole plate of chicken nuggets. Like they gave me way too many, and I was like, I can't just throw these away. And then I just ate them all. But it was just it was so easy to get excursions, like he said, dining reservations, like everything changes every day on the ship because people change their itineraries all the time.
Yeah.
So you can just like wake up in the morning and just say, hey, what classes are available, or what dining's available if I want to change it for adults, like Palo or Remy, and it was just unbelievable. You don't get the paper itinerary anymore, which is fine. Like I didn't really care about it, but it really changed my expectation of going onto the ship, and now I have like high regards. I felt safer on the cruise ship than I did going to Disney World.
Wow.
We went like that next day, and I'm like, people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you've been so isolated now
Like
for this period of time,
it
and now
was
you're
insane because
around
when we were
crowds.
going down like corridors and like hallways, I didn't pass a single person.
That's just nuts.
Like I have never
Wow.
been. It was just empty. Like I've never seen it so empty in
Some
my life.
would say it was a dream.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, if you can, I would say definitely go for it. It's sad it's 3 and 4 nights, but oh man, like it was a really good experience.
Did you guys see a lot of kids?
We did like see a fair amount of kids, but there wasn't a lot.
I think there was definitely more couples. I felt like than
It's their
than
time.
families. Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
like Castaway Key was empty. Like I mean, usually when we would go to like Cook's Barbecue, it was like a death match to try to find a seat to sit down after you had food. It was so hard to find. And now there's open tables. There was tons of seats around the beaches. I mean,
I would say
crazy.
compared to when we went 3 years ago, Castaway Key, it was like in the family areas, it was like impossible to find a place to sit. This time, it was harder to find a place to sit in Serenity Bay, which is the adult area on Castaway Key. So it seemed like a lot more people were just there without the kids. Because again, as Katrina said earlier, you still have to get your kids tested and everything. And if you're bringing kids, they force you to buy trip insurance.
Right.
oh yeah, that's another thing too. If you're unvaccinated and you have to pay for travel insurance, and it has to be the requirements, you have to show that online on Safe Passage too, and like when you check in, and it has to be under their rules. So they'll tell you what the trip insurance is if you want to buy it with like outside of Disney. But if you buy with Disney, you're like, easy peasy. But that's another thing, you have to buy
a lot
trip
of layers
insurance.
there. Wow. Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
a downside because I mean, if you show up with unvaccinated people and like with kids even, and they test positive, then you're not getting on that ship.
Yeah.
So it's it's a
something
little
to
bit it's a
consider.
little scary, something to consider.
Yeah. And if you guys were to wrap it up and share with people who might be nervous, have anxiety about the idea of getting on a cruise, because I think everybody's mind goes back to what it was like, prior to the pandemic, and you think about those crowds, you think about how cruise ships before the pandemic were bastions of bacteria and people
yeah.
getting sick. And so everybody knows that about cruise ships. And that's why Disney Cruise Line has forever had those hand sanities when you walk in, and they force you to use them, and they force you to make sure that you're all clean. So what would you tell people that might be considering a cruise or might have that anxiety about not plunking down money for a cruise right now? What would you say to reassure them?
If you're going to the grocery store, if you're going to Disneyland or Disney World or any theme park, if you've been to any public like gathering, this felt safer to me than that, because all the requirements that you needed to be, like we all alluded to earlier, being vaccinated or being tested. So we knew that everybody on the ship was negative. And then on top of that, just the fact that they're so insistent on no, wash your hands. Like even when we're just trying to like walk through cabanas, we're like, let's go through cabanas, and they're like, up, get on that hand washing sink, and it's like, all right,
Gotcha.
We would go like, oh, we're just walking through, but it was, and the fact that like unless you're gonna go into like a pool or something like that, you're not ever really next to somebody else.
That's just wild.
Yeah. I mean, even in the adult areas at night, like where, Evolution, the bars, the pub, things like that, it was like, there was rarely a time where you were sitting next to somebody. And they still kind of space out the bar stools. They'll be like, oh, there's 2 bar stools here and 2 bar stools there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you're ever right next to people. And it's just, it was very safe. I felt very safe.
I would say, like alluding to his like grocery store thing, on the Disney cruise, that 6 feet difference still exists. You have to remain 6 feet apart. There's like little, like if there is a queue for something, like even for the aqueduct, there is like steps to keep people 6 feet away from each other, which doesn't exist at Disneyland and Disney World anymore. And honestly, I was so scared to go, and it completely changed my mind. I kept my mask on. Like inside, you always have to have your mask on. But I always kept my mask on if I was like outside walking around, but I never passed by anybody. But if you did, like I still felt a little safer. And then on top of that too, they always spaced out seats. So they didn't have as many lounge chairs outside than they would normally have. And then inside, if you go to like the pubs and stuff, they had areas blocked off, so you had like you were separate from one another. So it wasn't like I was sitting at this booth and then he was right there on this other booth. They had it like really spaced out, so they reached capacity sometimes like quickly, because there's only like in the end in the adult areas there's only like 10 seats at that point.
Right.
So yeah, I would say I felt really safe. Just, keep your distance from people, keep your mask on. I always had my hand sanitizer with me anyway, even though there's hand sanitizer literally everywhere. I always had like my little bag with my hand sanitizer, and then I just like wash my hands all the time. And they're really good and strict about telling people, put your mask on, put it on right. And then if you do feel uncomfortable, there's sometimes like just find like a little alcove. There's like so many areas where you just, if you really want to just grab a drink or just hang out, there's so many areas you can just like be by yourself. And then even in your room, you can just like hang out in your room. There was days where I was like, I'm just going to like go in the room for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? It's empty in here. It's empty out there. I might as well just go get a drink out there and then just hang out. Like we had like our last hurrah. We had, Disney started doing happy hours for drinks, which is unheard of.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Even more surprising.
And by the way, I mean, not only did they just start doing happy
hours almost now.
But I know, I'm sorry. The happy hours are 30 to 50% off
on certain drinks. And it's only for an hour, but there's at every single bar.
Believe that.
So
Disney doesn't give discounts.
I was buying Mai Tais for $3.50.
I got a gluten-free beer for $3.75, and it was like a really expensive Spanish beer that I can't afford.
No,
it's unheard of. And so we got a $3.50 Mai Tai and sat and watched the sunset as we sailed, and there was nobody around because everybody, usually does first seating for dinner, and they're getting ready for second seating. So like we were already done and ready to go. So we just went upstairs for an hour and just hung out, watched the sunset, cried as we had to wake up early the next day.
It was so sad.
Leave the ship. We're like,
I don't want to go.
But it was just great. It was like I've never seen Disney give a discount for alcohol, like ever. And
Amazing.
to offer like 1 hour happy hour at different bars at different hours, it's just mind-blowing to me.
Tremendous tips, absolutely incredible experience, it sounds like, to have been a part of something like that, and hopefully will help you in determining whether or not you should take a Disney cruise on vacation anytime soon. And coming soon, even more in depth as to what they experienced firsthand. Tyler's putting together a little bit of a compilation of what they experienced in their own words and through their own viewfinder and cameras, so you're going to be able to see exactly what happened on their Disney cruise on vacation very soon on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel. Let us know in the comment section if you're somebody that is thinking about taking a cruise, and what's holding you back if not.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.